agenda item?
It would be G. We'd be adding it to the agenda.
5G.
Okay.
Discussion with possible action.
Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the agenda with that change as presented.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Motion carries.
Gotta vote.
Oh, we got to vote. It almost carries. All right, so we move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, item number 2, public participation. You have 5 minutes. If there is anything that's not on the agenda currently. Please speak.
My name is Corey Bryant. I live in Williston, Florida, and I'm actually representative for the Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to pass on real quick. On the 19th of July at 8 o'clock, we're going to be meeting here at the City Hall. All the chamber members that are involved in this. We actually got an approval to do an Adopt a Highway, and for the city of Williston. So that's going to be our first actual cleanup. I spoke with the chief. He's going to try to give us a hand with maybe an officer out there too, but we'll see how that goes because it all depends on calls for service, of course. But we would like to encourage everybody here, anybody that would like to attend, any of the staff, any of the actually community members, we're definitely looking forward to doing this. I really think it's going to be good for the city. Down the road, we got to do one once a quarter, so hopefully we'll get more volunteers. But again, it's on the 19th of July, which is a Saturday, and we'll be meeting at the City Hall here. Thank you very much.
What time is that?
8 o'clock.
A.M.
8 a.m.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes, Chief.
Mr. Cole, you said we're going 121 north?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because once we hit the city limits, we have to stop. Yep. But we'll be with you all the way there.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? All right. Are you on the agenda? No. Okay.
I would have liked to have been on the agenda, but my issue has already been sent to the insurance company, so I was told that it could not be on the agenda because I've already been turned down. I would like to request that the city addressed their parking bumpers, also known as concrete wheel stops, concrete parking blocks. I drove up to the one on the side of the post office on May 21st. I'm not sure I touched it, but I drove up to it, and when I was delivered my letter, and when I backed up, the rebar was sticking up enough that it grabbed my bumper and pulled my bumper off. Caught it. I stopped immediately. I went in the post office. The post office guy said, "Oh, that's a city thing." So I went to the city, and Jonathan came out and helped me. Came out and said, "Well, we need to call the police." So I have a police report. And another city employee came out there also, and I don't know his name, but the two of them stood there with me, and they were kind of supervising and helping me with this because I could not get my car removed from the bumper. City employees came, and I'm not sure if it was a 2x4 or whatever. They helped lift it off and said, "Okay, don't drive more than 30 miles an hour to get home." So I left the city. I left that area thinking that I would be, this is a city issue. You ought to be able to drive up to a parking bumper. I have a standard Cherokee Jeep. You ought to be able to drive up to a parking bumper and not be harmed. Seems like anyone should be able to drive safely up to one. So on on 5/22, on May 22nd, city manager called me and said, the city's going to take care of this. Don't worry about it. I was going to be leaving for Ethiopia in a couple days, so I trusted the city to take care of it. And they said, call Latricia on Tuesday. My husband tried to call her on Tuesday. Latricia was sick. So this went on, and I was gone for 2 weeks. Fast forwarding. Latricia couldn't call back. And then I met with the city manager and Latricia in their office after I got back from Ethiopia, and the verbiage changed. I was told, well, since you ran over the parking bumper. I brought my iPad, and since I'm not on the agenda, I would love to show people the police report and all the pictures of my car. I did not drive over a parking bumper. I drove up to it, just like all of you do. And I have pictures of people
Ms.
driving.
Schreiber, if you will address me.
Since
Thank
then. And, okay. Finally, well, you get the idea. I've been refused that the city is going to take care of this. And I've been without, but I was strung along with assurances that the city was going to take care of it, and then now it's been refused by the insurance company. It's going to cost me $1,800 or us $1,800 to have my car fixed. If you Google how you actually install these parking bumpers and look it up, I have a degree in architecture. I studied this stuff. And how were these installed and put in? Do you know? Does anybody know how they're supposed to be put in? Just, one little highlight I have. Ensure the rebar is flush with the top brick. This prevents potential damage to vehicles and injury to people, and how much epoxy you should put in there, and the spacers. Basically, there's just rebars in these parking bumpers. The second employee that came out the day I was there, he brought a hammer. And he went and he hammered in all the other rebars. So the people that drive up to the post office right now can thank me for the safety of their car, because he hammered in all the rebars right there that day. I think the city needs to come up with a maintenance plan on parking bumpers. All you have to do is go just check them and hammer them in. And the reason the insurance company turned me down, and I was told by Latricia that this happened to somebody else, and they were turned down because it hasn't happened before. So as long as you don't have a maintenance program, the insurance company is going to turn people down for issues that happen like this. That's what I understand. You're the city attorney. Maybe you can explain this to me better. But I was turned down because there's no precedence for maintenance, and there's no fault of the city because maintenance wasn't maintained, because there's no protocol to do any maintenance. Is there? And does anybody know how they were installed in the first place, and were they properly installed? And I'm really embarrassed and sorry I have to be here and do this, because I'm just really mad.
Thank you, Ms. Schreiber. Anyone else in the public?
Yes, my name is Tim Acker. I live right here in Williston on Northwest 225. I got a question. It's about I've been here before November of the past year, about the overabundance of stray cats. As of last year, right before the last hurricane, I started trapping cats, waited for the city to bring me some traps. Didn't get none, so I took it upon myself to go spend $50 a piece for them. And I did. And it just, in my yard alone, in 7 weeks, I trapped 22 cats out of my yard. I trapped 10 from the Ivy House because I got permission from them and everybody else around here. So I trapped them, and And so I quit trapping 3 days before the storm because I didn't want to leave them in there and be inhumane. But there's got to be some kind of ordinance to feeding these cats and trapping them and get them out of here. These things are a plague. They're worse than rats. Because at least you can throw some rat poison down and you don't get in trouble for cruelty to animals. I mean, there's nothing being done about it. You can cry and complain about it and everybody just, I mean, if you're a cat lover, fine, but I ain't. I've had cats, but you know what? I had them fixed and I took care of them. Made sure they had plenty of worm medicine, they had their shots, but these cats right around here, I mean, only thing you need to do is just make them a migrant and make Tent City over here for them to give them something to stay in. I mean, it'd be like in San Francisco. They crap everywhere. I mean, it's really embarrassing. I mean, I don't know what else to do, but I'm telling you, I'm finna start trapping again. And when I start, I ain't stopping. I mean, it shouldn't be my duty to do this. This should be the city's duty to have an ordinance. If you get caught feeding them cats, you get a warning the second time, you get a fine the third time, maybe go to jail. And maybe all this will stop. And then these people will keep their cats under control. Because I'm going to tell you, when Wayne was a code enforcement officer, it wasn't long. There was no more stray dogs around town. Try to find one. But there's plenty of cats. And it's just, there's no excuse for it.
Thank you. Any discussion? Anyone else? All right, so you'll have a second chance at participation at the end of. So item number 3, consent agenda. Council minutes from June 3rd and June 17th, 2025. Will be on the next agenda. Motion. Item number 4, updates. We're going to start with City Manager Sue Beaudet.
Thank you very much, Madam President. All right, just a couple of updates. I think I mentioned at one of the previous council meetings that Kim, our new HR director, and I had attended a utility training in the city of Newberry. That was Utility Training 101. And then we attended on Tuesday, June 24th, Utility 201. And we actually reached out to FMPA. They're going to do the same 2 trainings, Utility 101 and 201, on Wednesday, July 16th. That will be 101. And Wednesday, July 30th, and that will be 201. So they're roughly an hour to an hour and a half apiece. They're open to any city employee, any city council member, anybody who wants to just come in and learn about electric. 101 is on electric utility, financial, and planning considerations. And then 201 is on system operations and kind of the financial side of utilities, or electric utilities. So everybody is welcome to those trainings.
You send it out to us.
I can, absolutely. And then Thursday, June 26th, I had a meeting with Kevin Smith, the general manager from GFL. Just wanted to warn you guys that there is a CPI increase coming with our GFL rates. Forthcoming. He hasn't put it in writing yet, but it is coming. And then just got an email today from Coach Jermaine Pitts of Heavy Hitter Team. Mm-hmm. So this was the gentleman who came before us and was looking to have the women's softball at the Cornelius Williams Park. We've been working with him for the last couple of weeks on obtaining the correct insurance that he needed. And he just got that policy, I believe, either yesterday or today through K&K Insurance. It's general liability insurance that they have to have. And he sent this email addressed to the city council. It says, hello, first of all, sorry I couldn't make it to the meeting tonight, but as the spokesperson for the heavy hitters, we would like to say thank you for listening to our plea to be able to play softball in the city of Williston. As of 7/7/25, we now have insurance on the team as requested. We have been patiently waiting on the waiver to be sent out, but it has now been 3 weeks and no waiver, so still waiting on that. But when we get them, we will get them signed and back. I have been in discussions with Tommy at WYAA. He has a copy of the insurance. I sent a copy to the city today, and with that in place, he gave us the okay. So with time and donation and our personal money, we have scheduled to host 3 teams this Sunday, the 13th, including our team starting at 4 p.m. until about 8:30 p.m. at WYAA. And we will plan 2 more dates that the city has allowed us to play for this year in Williston at a later date. We are grateful for what you've done for us, but the end goal is to be able to play next year at the East Williston Park, with it being safe for teams and fans to be able to enjoy with dugouts and fence lines. Greatly appreciated, Coach Jermaine Pitts and the heavy hitter team and other coaching staff.
Yeah.
And then last, I just wanted to let you guys know that starting at the next council meeting, we are going to be recognizing, and I believe we did this in the past, and we're just bringing it back. We're going to be recognizing employees for their years of service. So we're going to start with employees at the next meeting that have been at the city for 25 years. And then the next meeting after that will be 20, and then 15, and 10, and we'll have everybody wrapped up by the end of this fiscal year with the 5-year awards. So it'll be quite a few awards, but they'll get a certificate and a pin from the city of Williston. And that's all I have. Thank you. Yes, sir.
In your report that you do each week, you put in there about interviewing for an administrative assistant.
Yes.
Question, does she need it? I mean, we've been without one for some time, and by us taking the position that Chip had, wouldn't we be better off fulfilling that and putting that person back in the field?
Christy's pretty overwhelmed over there with the number of reports that she has to do for all the different departments: water, gas, electric, stormwater, and then there's going to be reports, obviously, with the internet coming on board. So we wanted to have some redundancy between Christy and this person, whoever person we end up putting in there, Jenna or whoever. It was really just to make sure that she has some relief and there's redundancy between those 2 people. She right now is the only one that does all those reports.
Chief,
I also had a question about that same thing when you're through.
Okay. Chief, you have an assistant. She stay pretty busy?
Yes, sir.
Does she need somebody to help her?
No, sir.
Okay. And then we have one, Vicky, who is with, for you
Farsight.
and Latricia in HR. She need help? I just don't understand why we're going to spend more money to put a person in the office.
You have to remember
instead of
how many
back out in the
departments
field.
Christy is working for. It's quite a few people. Like I said, like it's water, it's wastewater, it's a variety of departments over there. I mean, and Jonathan can probably speak to this more than I can because obviously it's his assistant. But the thought was that we didn't need another person in the field, and it would be better to have another administrative assistant over there. But again, Jonathan can speak more to Christy's.
Before Jonathan comments, let me make my comment, and then he can answer both. My question is, we have a staffing plan, and it allots so many positions in so many areas. This is not a position that's on the staffing plan.
Right.
You can't add a position without it being budgeted and us approving it, essentially. If you want a position approved, you have to come before us at the budget or any other time, which I haven't heard the request for this position.
Right.
So I was surprised also to see it in your report.
And again, it's not an additional. This would be taking the place of the person that is no longer with the gas department. So it's not an additional person. It would
It's
be
a totally
switching.
different category of job.
Okay.
I mean, it's like the electric department that we had. Y'all came in, you asked for a different position.
Right.
That's why you did.
Right.
Because the staffing plan actually changes.
Okay.
And that staffing plan is approved with the budget each year and to be changed. I mean, that's the way I interpret it. I don't know if it is the way you interpret it or not, but there are so many positions. I mean, it's like Chief Rolls. He can't just add a police officer without coming to us and asking us to add that to the staffing plan.
Right. So you'd rather see this for the next, put it in the budget for the next fiscal year, is what you're saying?
I'm just commenting that
Okay.
I don't,
And
it's not a current position in the staffing plan.
Right. Understood.
That's just my comment. I don't know about the need or anything else.
Right.
And you got to remember, you've got to come to the council for this stuff, because if not, I see it as, well, let's just do it, and then we'll ask for forgiveness later.
Okay.
That's how.
And that's fine. I mean, we can certainly do that into the next budget year if you guys would prefer to do it that way. That's certainly, and I apologize if I didn't do that correctly. Absolutely. Jonathan, can you comment, though, about Christy and...
Yes, absolutely. So, that's loud. So with the new position, the thought was with fiber coming in with all the customers and all the complaints and not complaints, but you know what I'm saying, all the questionnaires and all the hookups and disconnects and all that. It'd be nice to spread the work around a little bit better, make it easier on everybody, and have redundancy. So if one's on vacation, the other one can fill in. Because the way it is now, it's not really one and done, but more or less it's one and done.
Right. So I guess I kind of look at it as when they were putting all this together, that should have been put in to the plan for fiber.
Sure.
You know, because we've been shifting employees around, moving from electrical over to utilities, and so.
Absolutely. I can certainly do that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Comments? All right, so now we're here from Attorney Kiersten Ballou.
Okay, a couple of updates for you all. First, the lien reduction policy is almost ready in its final sort of form for ordinance. You should see that on your next agenda, ideally. The RFP for the top of the hill, we plan to make live August 31st. So we've got to coordinate with our service. Central bidding, thank you. Our bidding software, central bidding, for that. So we anticipate that being August 31st, live and ready for bid.
Was it August or July?
August 31st.
Thank you.
And then the final item that I have for you all is you have a letter on the dais in front of you from me. So as a general recap, we haven't had one since all of you have been on the council. So my firm's contract with you all is such that if we spend more than 10 hours on a specific project, it becomes a special project, billed separately from your monthly retainer. There have been, as I'm sure many of you have heard, a couple of personnel issues that we've been dealing with that have already come up to the 10-hour mark. So the next step would obviously be getting a special project approved to continue addressing those concerns and dealing with those issues. The path that I would recommend for you, and is outlined in the letter, is working with an independent investigator. I know that oftentimes there are concerns among staff members of, who they're reporting to may have skin in the game, and how do we know that you're not invested? So twofold. One, not only am I recommending that you retain through my firm Megan Logan as an independent investigator. I've attached her CV for you all to take a look at. She is very experienced in this area. She's done work with us for Stark previously, and this is what she does. And then not only that, but I myself would take a step back, and Danielle Adams from my firm, who's another one of the attorneys who bills at my same rate, would be involved with Megan in order to run point on this project, just so everyone, all the staff members, feel like the two people that are involved in the investigation are completely without any skin in the game, haven't worked in the city before, so that everyone feels really comfortable. You all would get a report from Megan Logan at the end of the investigation. Employees would have an opportunity to speak with her if they chose. And then we would address any of the concerns that came from there, and she would make recommendations to you all. So that's my recommendation, is that you approve a special project, approve us retaining Megan Logan. I don't anticipate that it will exceed $15,000. I've seen it go up to $15,000 before. If we get close to that amount, and I feel like it'll keep going, obviously we'll come back to you all. But my request would be that special project be approved up to $15,000. And then you would get, it's not an upfront cost, so it would just be monthly as the fees are incurred. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but I think that this is a sort of good way for us to make sure that the employees feel seen and heard, and that there's, accountability and recommendations made.
Is this something that we have to have a resolution or anything for, or
You wouldn't need
consensus?
a resolution, you would need a vote.
Consensus?
You need a vote.
A vote.
Mm-hmm.
Do have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the special project with Ms. Logan.
A second.
Okay. First and a second. Any discussion from the council?
I think it'll be a good thing.
Yeah.
Because we have a decision to make in the future. So.
Any discussion from the audience? If none, I move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The motion passes with the vote of 5-0. 40, wait, 5. It's 5 of us.
Yeah, we have 5.
Don't make me have to. I'm like, wait.
She came at 6:18. Wrote it down.
All right. Chief O's?
All right, on a good note, the new guns that we bought from Dunellen are now starting to be issued out. So we're super excited about that. They are fully equipped and ready to hit the road. The 2 vehicles we also purchased from Dunellen are now on patrol. Sad to say, one of them got hit the other night.
Oh, she did.
Already.
It was good news, and then it went to bad. So,
oh man,
one of them got hit the other night. So Latricia's working the insurance claim on that. So hopefully we get that fixed and back on the road soon. In reference to our shooting simulator, I am glad to announce that Councilmember Riccio is our top shot. So congratulations. So, she did pretty good. I don't think anybody was close to her. Her time was 9.47 seconds. I think that was my time. We'll talk about that later. But everything's going pretty good over at the police department. We're in the process of hiring a couple of new people. We had 1 unforeseen left, and then we had another one that just recently left because he decided that this type of work wasn't what he wanted to do. So after I spent all that money, but anyway, I wish him well. But we're in the process of hiring 2 new people right now. That one has probably 13 years of experience, and the other one is coming from our neighbor, Levy County. So we're super excited to get them started, and once we get them hired and through the process, we'll bring them before the council to introduce them. So thank you.
Any other staff? Chief Stegall?
Yes, ma'am. We were asked this last week to support the city of Cedar Key with a fire inspection. They've lost their fire inspection service down there, and we're going to accommodate them just being a good neighbor on one building down there. They're trying to get a restaurant opened back up. But they will be coming back to us wanting to negotiate possibly a contract for us to do fire inspections for them in the future. I just want to make you aware of that. And on a really good note, we just put in a grant that is a no-match grant for $35,000 worth of bunker gear. We look to be approved for that, and there'll be no cost to the city.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I got 2 more updates if you don't mind.
I'm going to have the last word, though. I'm waiting on him.
That's fine.
I got another one.
We're fastly moving forward with the school zone cameras. So hopefully by August we will have them up and operational. So I'm excited about that. And the second thing I wanted to mention to the council was I want to thank all the law enforcement officers that showed up here for our 3rd of July event. I think we had about 80 different officers from different agencies that showed up. I will be writing a letter to all those agencies thanking them for coming and assisting us because that's totally on their agencies when they come here. They pay for their overtime. We don't pay anything. So I think I'll draft a letter and have it signed by all the council members, thanking them for coming out and helping us out during our 3rd of July. And it went off without a hitch. So everything was great. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, each.
Did you have something?
I was just going to say each time, I saw a council, thanking the officers, when we saw them when we could make eye contact and stuff. So they all looked like they were having a good time. So.
Chief Stegall? Okay. Any other staff? Anything from the council? Ms. Meredith?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the 3rd of July. It was a fantastic celebration, and it went off seamlessly from my vantage point, just waving elbow, wrist, wrist. But no, I was incredibly impressed, and every time, this being my second time, I'm incredibly impressed by the organization required. So thank you to all of you all who helped organize that and got the speakers and just everything. So I just showed up, and waved. But thank you for everybody doing the rest of the hard work and all the staff too.
I would say ditto.
Yeah.
It was wonderful just to see. We had more staff, I believe, that were everywhere, all over the grounds, doing everything. Things I've never seen them do before. It was really nice to see everybody working together as a team, from the very beginning to the very end. From cleanup. Yeah, I mean, we had people cleaning up who shouldn't have been cleaning up. But I was thrilled that everything went great. And the fireworks were wonderful. The music was terrific. The float was wonderful. Thank you for the bar that was in the middle of the float that we could hang on to and not fall down.
Yes.
Yes.
And for Amos for driving.
Yes. And if you want to watch how to cut a watermelon using
Oh, yeah.
the cutter,
These two are
Meredith is the
best
one.
watermelon cutters.
I still have all 10.
It scares me to death, that knife thing.
Not me.
And I just want to add, the gentleman that's running the camera in the back was also cutting watermelons.
Oh, yes, he did.
And he's a new employee.
Yeah. It's a pretty scary thing. Somebody has their hand up. I think it's Laura.
Hi. Yes, Ms. Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. You went really fast. I didn't realize everybody was ready. So the animal shelters had a lot of struggles the past couple of weeks. We've had a lot of puppies being dumped in the city limits, and mamas being dumped that have puppies the next day. We're really struggling out there. Our staff has stepped up, not just Kim and Takia, who are amazing, but our new animal control officer, who will be definitely prosecuting any animal cruelty that is happening in the city limits. She knows how to do this, and she's very, very good at it. And also BJ and Nicole stepped up last week. They went out there and they spent time with the girls because they were overwhelmed and the phone calls were coming in. But we did get quite a few dogs adopted. We got a couple fostered, so that's good. And I'm going up and down because he's experimenting with me. It's okay. But we do still need help out there. If anybody wants to adopt a dog, foster a dog, or otherwise come out and volunteer, we would really appreciate it. And we're not the only ones. Some of our friends around town are closed because they are full. And we did not get a lot of help from other rescues because they just don't have any room. WAG has stepped up. They have taken some dogs from us, 2 of our really good ones. They know that they can get adopted, and we appreciate that. And I wanted to thank the staff. They put some dog kennels out there for us. We had a really great donation for the wood and the fencing. So we have some kennels where they can go out and run and play and have, get out of the concrete. So it has changed a little bit out there. If anybody wants to bring those girls, like a donut or something, they would really appreciate somebody coming out there because they kind of feel a little bit isolated. They don't get a whole lot of guests from the city, except for Tom and some of our staff who's been brilliant for them. So I just wanted to give that update on the animal shelter and the struggles that we're having.
Thank you. You else?
Make sure they know we're glad they're there. Because I can remember what we had before was horrible. And what we have now is just wonderful compared to that. So, even if we are full.
So, over the past 2 or 3 weeks, I've had some customers ask who have been longtime residents and everything. And they've asked, what's up with, it seems like every worker has a vehicle, which I'm cool with that. And I explained to them how we get them and things like that to them so they understand that we're not paying full price. We get them through the government and everything. So I was just curious, have we bought any vehicles since the change from city managers from Terry Brevard to Sue? Have we purchased any vehicles?
I want to say 1 or 2. 2, you're confirming?
Yes.
Okay.
In the same fashion we did, Danny goes through GSA or whatever it is.
Yes.
Okay. All right. One of the things I noticed too, the chief was showing me was GPS, that they can monitor where all the cars are. Do we have that on any of our vehicles?
Aaron is in the process of installing them. We've been working on it for the last month or so.
Okay.
On all of them.
Okay. All right. And then over in the barn area, do we have any cameras or anything over in there? So if stuff goes missing, that it's videoed?
Yes, there is a video camera out there. However, I did confirm with Aaron today that there is no audio on any of our cameras except for the one in the council chambers. Okay. So including the community room, nothing else has any audio.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else from the council? All right. We'll go to item number 5, new business. Item A, discussion with possible action. Jackie Applin, update on Cornelius Williams Park and presentation.
All right, y'all got to clap, now come on. I'm just kidding. Good evening. My name is Jacqueline Appling, and I just would like to ask permission to reverse. I want to do the presentation first, and then the update on Cornelius Williams Park, if that's okay. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, family, it's okay. All right. I present to you tonight. I start over with reading what I have. Good evening. My name is Jacqueline Appling. I'm glad to be able to attend more meetings. Due to work, I haven't been here, but I've had listening ears. Physically not here, but listening. Thank you, Latricia, for allowing me to get on the agenda tonight. You guys know I usually jump up at public speaking time, so I'm in and out because I'm usually running somewhere else. I'm here tonight to just speak on 2 areas, part 1 and part 2. The first one will be the presentation, and then part 2 will be update on Cornelius Williams Park. I just kind of reiterated that. I've already been warned not to be long-winded, so I'm going to try not to be. I'm going to speak quickly, but I'm going to make sure it impacts everyone, I'm hoping. The presentation, I'm not here to reinvent the wheel, as most of you know. I'm just here to jumpstart an idea that I've chatted with way back. As many of you know, Mayor Goodman does an excellent job with Student of the Month. Bingo. We have to agree it does a good job. Continue to recognize our children as they get older and stay involved in the community. I have done some brainstorming with Chief Mike Rose from years ago. We were presented by Mayor a volunteer certificate for Friends Cornelius Williams Community Park Committee entitled Pioneers of the Community back in 2024. This was those volunteers that continue to work towards Cornelius Williams Community Park project since 2011. Tonight, I would like to collaborate with the project and present a certificate to a young man in our community and entitle this project Young Pioneers in the Community. Because when they do Student of the Month, they do grow up and they become young people and they become adults. So I'm hoping to extend this program by keeping the pioneer flame burning bright. As you know, we're getting older, whether we accept that or not, and our youth and our children will hopefully keep these ideas and things moving on and given opportunities. So tonight, I would like to present a certificate to a young man. Taylor Seabrooks, professional steel wrestler, mentor, trainer, coach, and all-around cowboy. But most of all, a genuine, respectable, humble young man. Taylor Seabrooks started this sport at the age of 4 to 5 at the Rafters Cross Cowboy Church for kid rodeos. Continuing his journey, fast forward. He won All-Area Cowboy at Georgia, Florida Youth Rodeo Series, being the first African American to do so. He has been to two national rodeos, JR, and I don't know all acronyms, so his mom's here. He has been in national rodeos, JRNFL 2001, placing 20th the following year. NLBR National Finals, placing number 10th in the world, 2022. We had a parade during that time celebrating this young man. At the end of 2022, he became a part of various professional rodeos association, PRCA, PCA, RCA. November 2024, he was champion steel wrestler at National All-Regional Finals in Tampa, Florida. Taylor continues to compete throughout the state professionally in the circuit. He has not stopped at that point. He recently graduated from Central Florida College with his degree in welding technology. Mom, Uncle Rick, family, and others continue to encourage and support as he continues the ventures. He continues to mentor, coach, train other youth in the community, breaking horses, nervous there, riding horses, doing lessons. His patience with kids and horses are amazing. He also takes time to travel to various events, speaking at churches, speaking and sharing his experience and opportunities, and encouraging others to get involved in positive ways. All these things under the watchful eyes of God, Uncle Rick, who's not able to be here tonight, and others. It truly takes a village. So tonight, without any further delay, we would like to, Friends of Kennesa's Event Committee, would like to recognize Taylor Seabrook as a young pioneer in the community of Williston, Florida. We will continue honoring and watching others as we continue to look and choose in our community young people. He will be presented with a certificate with 2 anonymous donation donors in his travel box, his first buckle in his shadow box. Also, Uncle Rick will also receive the token as well as on hand to play a part in Taylor's life and his adventure. Congratulations to you, Taylor, for all of your success, for your adventures in this world. We just want to thank you and ask you to continue motivating other youth in Williston, Florida. As you guys notice around us, Gainesville, we're next to the capital of the world, Marion, Horse, capital of the world, Marion County. And to hear the great things that not only Taylor are doing, but most of you recognize a young man, Quinyon Mitchell. He was another one that was recognized in Williston for his talent. What we need to happen, and I'm hoping that we can continue to pick young pioneers in the community of Williston, Florida. I'm asking the council to recognize these young people, not just Taylor and Quinyon, but others, with a plaque that puts their name visible in City Hall. So when others look at it, other student of the month look at it, they say, we want to be like Mike, we want to be like Taylor, we want to be like Quinyon. So those children will continue to grow and bring back to Williston, Florida, and not move away and take it with them. So tonight I ask this young man, who's a hard cookie to break, to collaborate with me on presenting other youth in our community with those certificates and those honors. So Taylor, would you come up, please, sir? I would like for you all to meet Taylor Seabrook. Look at that standing tall over time, please. So proud of you. Yeah, you can up front.
I knew him from somewhere. I walked in the door. I've seen it. I knew him from somewhere. I've seen him get awards at MLK too.
While we wait for Mr. Jackson to come up, it's so amazing that, tonight this young man is here. He knows I follow him, sponsoring when I can, and he hasn't let me down yet. When he's at a rodeo and it's somewhere close and I can go, I'm there supporting. So it's a pleasure to be standing here with you again, saying thank you for being a leader in our community and representing Williston well. Thanks, brother. So tonight, we present you this certificate of achievement, presented to you, Mr. Seabrook, for outstanding rodeo achievement, date July 8, 2025, signed by Ms. Atman, coordinator, Friends of Williston, Denise Williams Park. Congratulations. Also,
Mrs. Buckle. You got to show us too.
Oh, no.
Cool.
Be my new patrol. I'm going to present you with this buckle. I think you've seen it before, probably. But Ms. Jackson did a nice job with it in a frame for you. Hopefully, it's something that you always cherish. Let's do that.
And he's presented Taylor with this box that holds some of his artifacts. And inside, presented Taylor with his travel fund box. If any of you would like to donate to Taylor, he received his travel box. And in there are the 2 anonymous donations that he's received. And like I said, they're anonymous, so you can share as you choose, but we will need funds to travel and continue to do great things with this. And
Would you like to say anything? All right.
Thank you.
As DC would say, big little Williston.
Bringing it home.
Yep.
The second part I'm going to keep very simple, and I'm hoping, like I said, the family will stay just for a little while with me. Just a review of Williams Park. There's a lot of new faces, the council, mayors. I've watched change in all of those faces, and I know the person looking at me said it don't be long went. Just an update, because in the community we're hearing things about Williams Park, that it's not being loved, it's not being taken care of, it's not being all of those things. And when that comes out in the community, I really wish those people were at council meeting, attend more council meetings, attend more events. But there are lots of things that's happened at Williams Park. There are a lot of volunteers that are working. Williams Park is a project that started back in 2011 with a group called CSI, which is Citizens Seeking Improvement. And I won't read everything because a lot of this is already out there. But it's a park that a lot of people have invested in. I won't name names, I won't say names, but under a lot of umbrellas from at the council to the fire department, to the police department, to planning and zoning, to every committee that's in City Hall has contributed something with Williams Park. 22 acres on 27, located, like we say, behind shifting gears. But it's a beautiful park. We've had various activities that happen at Williams Park. We've had Black History programs there. We've had cleanup days. Some of you remember our cleanup days at Williams Park. We've had spring fest out there. We had Muffins for Mom drive-through during COVID. We've had health distribution. We had Father's Day programs out there. We've had annual events. We've had movie nights. We've had food sharing out at Williams Park. So a lot of things that have taken place at that park called Williams Park, Community Park. We have banners. And I'm just, like I said, I'm going to go through it quickly. That's called travel banners for Williams Park. They go with us everywhere. We don't have them stationary. We're hoping to get a permanent place. You need help switching them out. So if somebody can help. Yeah, just keep it. Yes. The banners that we have. This one started, the main idea was the banner that says, "We are stronger working together for our community." And children is my main focus. Come out of the classroom, children, children, children. You get children there, you get parents there, you get adults there. So this travel with us all the time because we're stronger as a community, and we noticed that. You guys remember, this was not here as a City Hall. I remember the little white building. I remember the voting in that little house. So we came from somewhere else to get there, and we're hoping with the park we can keep being stronger to get those things in Williston, Florida. This one, if you've never met Mr. Williams, this is Mr. Williams. And a young man had a vision of, he never met Mr. Williams, and a picture that I gave him. He developed that picture of Mr. Williams as what he would look like now. So if you don't want to bring her up, can everybody see them? I'm sorry. Of who he would look like if he saw him. He didn't know him. He was a little boy, so he did not know. And you guys can show him to the new council members. So we just turn. Thank you, so that they're able to see. This is Williams. The park was named after him. And this guy had a vision. He'd never seen him, but he visualized from that picture what he would look like if he was here today. So overall, I was just mainly wanted to introduce the Friends of Williams Community Park Project. To anyone that's not familiar with it, it's located on 27. You know, it calls barbecue. Go that way, you will see it. You will find it great. Dog park, family park, softball, all of those things. The walking, I'm starting the walking group again. There's so much out there we're utilizing the park for. And I will get with Miss Latricia and Miss Debra Jones, because you know I have that wish list of things that can go out there temporary. In the city, they know. I work with so many great people that will get some temporary things out there. But for the new counselor and anyone that's new in the community, the Williams Park project is going to go until we get that City Hall. Okay. So thank you all for your time. I appreciate you giving me that time. That's an update on the Williams Park.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from?
I have a question.
I have a thank you.
I actually have a question. I know one of the more recent city council meetings, there was discussion of bigger sign for the entrance of Cornelius Williams Park, and I'm just curious. I can't remember where we are in the time frame for that.
Miss Jackie, could correct me if I'm wrong, but you're gonna produce the sign, we're gonna plant it, correct?
I'm sorry.
The sign that she speaks of, you were gonna produce the sign
Yes,
and we were gonna plant
we're
it.
working with a group for that. We'll need the city to help us
Yes,
because
absolutely.
Jonathan is the one with the size. And anytime we have something done at the park, we always come to the council to make sure we pass following all the rules and doing everything that's needed there. And so Jonathan, I have been working with him on the signage to get it bigger. We're also looking at 318 because we always go in that way, having it on both ends to enter into the park. But signage is one of those projects that we're working on.
Great.
Also, like I said, I will get Miss Debra. There's two things I'm going to ask you guys tonight. Water. We really need to have water at the park. We talked about the no water at the park and people having to drink out the water fountain in the bathroom when that water fountain is broken. And we're just looking to get some type of water line run up near the basketball court. We talked about the parent that had a child in a wheelchair that could not get to water. So I've worked with a lot of people. I've talked with a lot of people on that project. So water, getting water out that's hot. We do softball out there where the heavy hitters. And once you run out of water, your water bottle, there's no water. And going in the bathroom, getting water in by the bathroom, that's just not healthy.
And Jackie,
So
I'd
that's one
like
thing.
Jonathan to address that because we actually just talked about that this afternoon.
Okay.
So as far as the one at the bathrooms, I didn't know it was broke, so we can get that fixed quick enough. I didn't know it was broke.
Yeah, because
But
what
the-
we talked about when it was taken from the garage, the
Correct.
used one, we went with it because that was temporary.
Right.
It was an older one. I had Mr. Bullock to come out and give figures on that of what it would take, and he said physically it would just take the labor of running, digging the drain, find out where the water line is, the piping, to where it's near the basketball court.
So
Right now, there was an old water fountain. We took what we had and we used it. It's gone. It's done.
Right.
It
So
goes
the one
to the
at-
water fountain. Great.
The one at the basketball court is already scheduled. The water department's going to run a new line. The 811s have been in, so 2 weeks or less. The one at the basketball court should be installed and working.
Great, and that's going to help keep kids from making sand mud pies and all those little things that's down by the bathroom. That's great. That's exciting to hear. That's exciting. So the next thing is movie night. We're looking forward to having you all attend our 5th annual movie night. It will be at the pavilion because generators with the electricity, the lightning and the rain, we're just not. So it will be held at the pavilion on August the 2nd. We're working on it. Getting everything in place for that. It will be Mufasa. I think that's the movie that's out now. Desmond Holmes has been, if you've never been to a headphone movie, if you guys come as adults, you will be amazed.
Yeah, that's
It's
cool.
amazing. It's a silent movie, but it's amazing. So that's coming up. I'll keep you all posted on that. And
time?
one more thing, and I'm done. The final thing is upkeeping them. I know you guys are smiling like, yeah, right, you said that a minute ago. But this is it, finally. We have been maintaining in Jermaine Pitts, as you know, that we've been working on the fields out there. We've had several people, private vehicles and private tractors to go in and clean those 2 fields. But as it rains, the grass is just taking over again. We can't go out there and just spray grass killer to kill everything. We've done it. We pay for it. We're asking for any help. I know the correction workers do a lot of projects in Williston. We've never had them out there. If we could get someone to help us maintain it, because we do practice out there still. We play up here, but we still go out and practice at the fields because the fields are in great shape. But when it rains, it overtakes, and now we're shoveling and hoeing and pulling that out just to get the 2 fields of softball. And we've had someone clean it. They've been cleared. We've had officer, I'm not going to say, my dad and various people, free volunteers to come out and clean the fields. Is to keep those fields so we're able to keep practicing, and people are playing out there. They're walking, the football team practicing, soccer's there. So there's a lot happening out there. So I just need to find out who to talk with as far as getting the fields maintained after we clean them and clear them off. And we pay people to do that. So we knew the staff was short. We knew that, but we wanted to use them and needed to. So we were able to invest in that, and that's done, but just keeping them maintained. So there's some
Ms. Apple, did I miss the time for August 2nd for the movie?
It will start at 5 o'clock. I'm
5
sorry,
p.m.
5 o'clock, and it will go to probably about 8:30 or 9. It's a short movie, but it will be activities for the children and families before then. And Ms. Latricia always has great ideas on what we do with that part. So it'll be
thank
nice
you.
things. So is there a contact person that I know Jonathan on the water, but on the maintaining or helping us with the fields?
Jonathan and I will talk about it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
And they know I have a contact person that I have on speed dial. So, but I am. Don't look at me like that back there. It's like she's going to say one more thing. I thank you all very much. I appreciate everyone. And I'm done.
Anything from the public? Anything from the council? We don't need to vote. All right. Item B, Resolution 2025-74, a resolution of the City of Williston, Florida, appointing Justin Head to the Community Redevelopment Agency for a 4-year term beginning March 15, 2025 and ending March 15, 2029, and providing an effective date. City Planner Laura Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. As you guys know, we lost Mr. Nick Williams. He's decided to resign after, it was 23 years on the CRA. I did put this out for, I think I put it out for almost 5 months, and I got one full application, and that was Mr. Justin Head, and we're all very happy with this application. So this resolution would appoint him for 4 years. Yes, the dates say March 6th to March 16th and March 16th because that's when the appointment is. So it's not a typo. It's just the way that we try to stagger everything. He would have loved to have been here tonight, but he had previous plans that he didn't know he was going to be on this particular agenda.
Okay.
I move approval of Resolution 2025-74.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion from the audience? Any from the council? Seeing none, I move to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Item C, Resolution 2025-75, a resolution of the City of Williston, Florida, approving and entering into a worksite agreement between the City of Williston and the Florida Department of Corrections, authorizing the City Council President to execute the agreement and providing an effective date. City Attorney Kiersten Ballou.
This is exactly what it sounds like. There's an agreement that's attached to the resolution, just so that you can sort of see what that would look like. But it essentially just designates the animal shelter as a work site for the Department of Corrections and allows us to use those individuals and their manpower. And I think that we heard earlier that it's well needed. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but this is fairly standard from the Florida Department of Corrections.
Just as a follow-up, we did have somebody come out and she's been doing her hours out there, and she has been an absolute godsend to us. I had the officer reach out and ask if we wanted to get into an agreement so that we could have some more. And I said, absolutely, this is wonderful, but we wanted to make sure that it was all approved by a council before we continued on this progress.
Okay.
So these are not kids. These are like court appointed. I mean, not court appointed, but court mandated.
It's community hours.
Community service hours that are
Through the Department of Corrections.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Jones, there's been other communities that have used inmates to help with the dogs and work them, walk them, and stuff like that, right?
Yes, so we actually have 2 prisons nearby that we're going to be starting that program with, where we actually give them our dogs and they train them for us and return them to us adoptable. But this is just people who need court-ordered community service hours who are going to come to us and walk our dogs and help us train. And the woman that we've had lately, she's been here for a little while, and our dogs are completely different animals since having her. So I asked Kiersten if this was something that she could help me with, and she did, and I appreciate that because this could be a huge godsend to us. I know it was for my horse rescue in the past, so.
Very good.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2025-75.
Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, Move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion passes 5-0. Discussion, item D, discussion with possible action, vacation payout, city manager Beaudet.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam President. In your packet, we have a revised vacation payout review as of June 26th of 2025. I don't know if anybody did the math, so if you did, I just wanted to let you know there's two. Let me back up. So at the last council meeting, there was a discussion about not going down to 200 hours, but going down to 288 hours because that's what was in the employee manual. So if you take, I'm going to use Donald as an example here. If we take his carryover hours that's in that yellow column, highlighted in yellow, 488.28 hours, and you subtract the 288 that's allowed by the HR manual, you have his payout hours there is 200.28. And then obviously the associated dollar figure of $7,873.01. There are two employees on this list, Jonathan Bishop and Matthew Fortney, who actually took some of their vacation. So if you subtract their 288 from their carryover hours, it doesn't equal 100. It doesn't equal like it did with Donald. But basically, this is the revised amount. And keep in mind that these carryover hours in that yellow column is as of December 31st of 2024. So that's why not everybody is on this list that was on the previous list. This is only anybody who had carryover hours at the end of last year. So it's a much smaller list. And again, Stephen Bloom clarified that the $36,661.85 would be coming from salaries that we did not fill. Positions we did not fill.
Can I get a motion?
So just to clarify, this is a motion that we would approve this payout, and then there would be an additional payout in the next fiscal year for the remainder of people.
This will at least get us down to 288.
Yeah, this is it.
This is it. No more payouts.
And then we're going to encourage staff to use their time.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
Yes.
All right, so just so you understand, we're going to pay it the 36 out, right?
Correct.
Perfect. That way there we get it done, get it over.
Hold the
with.
Band-Aid. Done.
I make a motion that we approve the payout, the vacation payout per the schedule.
Have a motion. You have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We'll have discussion by council.
I have a question. Does this include any hours that have been incurred since January 1st? No. It's only, so if they've accrued any since January 1st, they are not included here because they can still spend them in this fiscal year.
Correct.
Perfect.
And if they do not spend them in this fiscal year, do they lose them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're clear on that.
That's why we're going to encourage them to take their time now.
Definitely, definitely. Any discussion from the audience? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Vote motion carries 5-0. So item E, discussion with possible action for Department of Environmental Protection grant, City Manager Beaudet and Walt Nichols.
All right, I'm actually going to ask Walt to take item E and item F, and then Walt, if you can also give the council an update on the Crystal Coral lift station abandonment that we discussed this afternoon as well.
Yes, I can do that. Walt Nickel with Wright Pierce. Good evening.
Well, before you start, I just want to let you know that each council member has a printout of your PowerPoint because it's not working.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know in your packet you have the full applications for this, but I prepared basically a condensed summary for this evening. On June 25th, we got notice of this grant application. So this is a FDEP State Revolving Fund Assistance for Utilities Impacted by Hurricanes Helene and Milton. And there is approximately $1.6 billion that's available to the state of Florida for this.
A lot of money.
This, I think, missed our radar, both us and staff, because it was labeled as an SRF loan. And we are really at this point, we have an SRF loan through SwiftMud. The city was not necessarily focusing on additional loans at this point, but right before the deadline, I think Donald Barber got word that it's called a loan, but it's going to be a principal forgiveness loan. So I just want to go that and become a grant, essentially. So what this is, there's two programs that FDP has. The FDP Drinking Water State Revolving Fund and the FDP Clean Water State Revolving Fund. And requests for inclusions, the applications for each of these programs was due on June 30th, 2025. We got word that this was available on, that was a Monday, on the Wednesday of June 25th in the afternoon. Worked with city staff, fortunately, we've had other grant applications, and we've done multiple studies for you on your infrastructure. We have a good idea of what infrastructure you need, and initially I emailed Sue and Donald saying, okay, we've got time, we're going to go after 2 projects. These are what they're going to do. You've got 1 hour to let us know if it's different, because we have to run with this. And turns out we ended up probably about 15 or 20 projects. I'll go over that we ended up going for. But anyway, the requests were due on June 30th. That was the due, and we submitted them on June 30th. Again, these are classified as low-interest loans, but they are telling us principal forgiveness, so they would become essentially grants to the communities that receive them. Under the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, eligible projects are planning, design, and construction of public water facilities. And in our application, we requested $13.9 million worth of projects. I do want to say, the program was titled, Assistance from Hurricane Helene and Milton. Even though your water system was not impacted severely by those hurricanes, a big portion of the program is resiliency for the future, building. And so the projects that we presented under the clean water were a lot of water main upgrades, and I have a list of what they are, scattered throughout the city, that will help in another hurricane. You lose a well field, there is damage to one, you've got redundancy, and this built-in redundancy, and this program allows for that. So you could have had past damage from the hurricanes that occurred, or building resiliency going into the future. And that's where the city of Williston, we felt your projects were meeting that criteria. So again, the application we put in was for $13.9 million. In your packet, I've listed the projects, the water main projects that we included in that. There were 10 individual projects scattered throughout the city that we would do water main upgrades, increasing sizes, increasing connectivity and looping. It was upgrading the treatment plant mix and well, doing some upgrades to that. Some of the future work that we had planned on when the Morales project was coming in, there's still benefits for the city if that was going to happen. We've included those. And we also, the city, you've authorized staff that we're assisting them in purchasing a vac truck. We found some vac trucks through the Sheriff's Association, and so they're looking to purchase that. The full-blown vac truck that they're looking at is worth about $750,000. That could apply to this grant, so we put that vac truck in here too. So those are the projects that we put together, and we've completed the financial forecasts, the cost estimates for them, and those are submitted to the on the water program. On the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, that's the second program. Eligible projects for that are planning, design, construction of clean water improvements such as stormwater management facilities, detention, retention facilities, treatment of stormwater, wastewater management such as sewers, pump stations, treatment plants, and reuse. And so that hit a little bit broader. We put in that request, $41.7 million. And in that, the project list is smaller, with 6 projects, but we've got some pretty heavy hitters in there. If you're aware, Northwest 7th Street drainage, we've had, flooding issues there. We had applied 2 years ago for a grant, a brick grant through FEMA. We didn't make that first round. When it came again a year later, we applied for that again, along with some other projects. We made it to the second round in January, February of this year, and soon thereafter, February, the funding got cut for FEMA, and so that project funding opportunity went away. We've included it here on this one, and that has always been a very high priority project. 5th Street drainage and the park over at Epperson Park. We designed some I'll use the term again, Band-Aid. I've done that before here, but a Band-Aid stormwater project. You had authorized us. We designed it. City didn't have funding for that. We included that plus expansion of the Epperson Park. There could be stormwater improvements. The quarry pond that is there can be enhanced, improved, would help stormwater, help the park, and help the drainage of that area. So we included that. As part of the septic to sewer program that we went after some other grants too under the Florida Springs initiatives that we didn't get funded. We've been encouraged. It's opening up again. We're going to be applying again. But we had additional capacity for the wastewater treatment facility. And that does meet this criteria for future resiliency. That is a $25 to $30 million ask. And that's why this program is at the number that it is. And then, as you've been aware, staff has been here on the Fugate, lift station number 1, Fugate station. We've again got Band-Aids. We've got an emergency bypass installed. We've got new pumps that are going in, but those are just to maintain the system as is now. That station needs to be replaced, as well as the Acree and Russell stations. Those are your 3 biggest lift stations. We put those in. So these are, that's what was applied for. We're asking for, $55.7 million. We're not expecting to get all of that. I'll tell you that. We were told to ask big. There's money available, but that doesn't mean it's not an all or none. They will fund portions. They're pretty much saying this round is focused on small communities like Williston. And so we asked big. We're expecting a nice chunk of that to happen. And they are telling us that it is a principal forgiveness, so it will become a grant. So the schedule on this, they said August 20, they will start with public hearings on all the projects that were submitted. So we should start to hear how many projects were, how many people were we competing against, and what does it look like? Are we favorable? And then they're expecting final decisions by January 2026. So we're hoping in the next 6-7 months that we get some favorable news. It's a great opportunity to help smaller communities. And they've been passed up communities like you in the past and the bigger communities and to get some of the grant money. This one, we're being told is focused more to communities like Williston. So that is what happened. It was kind of a short notice. A little bit of surprise that it was become a grant, and that's became the urgency. If this is a grant, we have to do that. And so we were able to do that, and we're hoping for success.
So they will pick and choose which ones they fund?
They would, what I'm hearing, and it's not written this way, that we would get a funding allocation.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I think we'll be before you and work with staff depending on what that money is and where these priorities are.
Perfect.
That's what I believe is going to happen.
Exciting.
Ms. Meredith.
When they do the public hearings, is that something that the presence of city council would help sway their decision making?
I'm sure it can't hurt. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah. If I find out information on that, they should be notified.
Because it would be in Tallahassee.
They may be Zoom meetings too.
Oh,
They've been doing a lot of other meetings that way. They can get a wide audience. I don't know the format.
Okay.
But they should be notifying the city as well as Wright Pierce, but they'll be notifying the city about the application.
Yeah, let us know.
Because Cammix in Gainesville.
Oh, her office is.
Yeah. we can see when she's going to be there.
Okay, Amy.
It's probably not the committee, though. They probably have a committee that reviews it. Probably not her.
What?
Is it federal or is it state?
This is all federal.
This is federal.
I'm sorry, state money.
State
FDEP.
money. Okay.
FDEP.
I thought so. DEP.
So that's the two programs that we applied for. An update. City manager had a meeting with USDA Rural Development, and they have, RD loans are available for communities. They're long-term, low-interest loans. City manager and staff have approached us. We are putting together a proposal, and it's rather lengthy, for the city to help the city apply for a USDA loan. But there's a lot of to define what that number is going to be. We have to give estimates on what the projects are, what the design costs are going to be, and what the constructions are going to be. And in that loan, we are including the Curl lift station abandonment as one, and also the Homestead lift station is in dire shape also. And so we're including that under the loan. And then there is an opportunity under their purchase program. We're going to put in for a fire truck per staff. So we're in the process of developing all that. There are strings that come with these loans. I mean, they're low interest loans for long-term, 30 to 40 years. So it's a very low monthly payment that you would have. But they require certain things be done. They require an environmental report be done for each of the projects. When we were doing the work for Crystal Coral, when it was city money or other funds, though that wasn't required, we have to do, and it's a rather lengthy environmental report that needs to be done. And so we would have to do that. So we're estimating what that's going to be so we can roll that into that loan amount. It needs, per their requirements and standards, called a preliminary engineering report for them also, and that's a rather lengthy report. Those would have to be done, submitted, reviewed by USDA, and so we're estimating what those costs would be to do that. And also, when it does go to construction, they require full-time construction inspection. So and it can't be city staff. You have to hire a consultant. So these things, they're low interest and they're long duration, but they come with some baggage. So we're working on all that. I did say I would have had that to Sue by now. The other application derailed us a little bit when we jumped on that, but we're wrapping that up. But what that proposal is going to do is going to outline all those costs that you have to ask, what's your loan amount? So you know going in what that is. It's going to include all the additional engineering that you're going to need to do, the environmental report, the PER report, the construction, and all the construction administration and loan administration you're going to need. If you need legal, I'm going to have to reach out to you, Kiersten, to see if there's legal work that's going to be needed for that loan amount, and maybe some additional thing from Stephen Bloom. That can all be rolled into that. So we're trying to give you that big picture right now. But that's what we're working on now. And the big project is Crystal Coral. We've been having a tough time finding money to resolve that issue. This is the current project that we're looking at now. And additionally on Crystal Coral, we're not just looking at this. You approved, Wright Pierce, we're working on the Swift Mud SRF feasibility study that we're doing right now, where we're doing the smoke testing and the teething of the sewers. The next step of that is then you ask for the construction improvements. The Crystal Coral project can roll into that too. So we're looking at multiple avenues for that lift station abandonment. So that would be under the current SRF loan that you have with Swift Mud, not DEP, but with Swift Mud. So those are the updates on things we've got going right now.
I think we're keeping you busy.
It was a busy week.
So I have a question. So in here, there was a lot of things that were lined out related to sewer and septic.
So we had to provide backup information, and given 2.5 days to provide all that, we reported, those were previous reports that we had done. And so we lined out the things that were not part of this ask, because some of those reports cover a wide variety of things. And so, they needed the backup, so we gave them the backup, but we tried to highlight, okay, of this report that we did. And you're very fortunate that, we had those reports. The city has already looked to the future. A couple of years ago, we did the utilities infrastructure report. that looked at the water system, the wastewater system, the roads, and the drainage. And so we had basically essentially chapters in each one of those, and I was able to go to the water. These projects came straight from that report and the backup for it and the modeling. So we're showing them that, we show there's a need for this. We're not just pulling these projects up. You look to this, and we had a study, and we're showing that there was a need. And so that's all in the packet of everything that we needed to provide them. So it was
I had the exact same question, and the other question I had is the population figures kept changing. I assume that's because it was a different demographic area.
Yeah, some of them were service area, some of them are going to be city area,
Right.
so they had different ways they asked that
Gotcha.
question, and we
Because they kind of bounced from 3,200 to 4,000.
Yeah.
And at one point, I think there was a 34,000 in one of them. I didn't know if that was a typo. I actually saw that in a couple of places.
I'll look to that.
Yeah, there are two places that had 34,000.
Okay.
And some odd.
I will look at what
see if I
that,
can find that.
question was. But some of them were even future, and they gave us like users, so you have a number of water services. There are factors, well, how many residents are on that, and they have a formula that we have to use to do that and calculate some of those numbers. The 34, I'll have to look specifically.
34,000 was a lot. I was worried about that one. And it may be that you went all the way to Morales or something and you picked up a whole area.
It could be in that
possibility or future projects or whatever.
Yeah, right at the
I'll
moment.
see if I can find them before I get out of here tonight.
Okay. I'll take
So the items that you removed have been completed already? Is that what you're saying?
they weren't included in the ask. So
They weren't part of what they
we
paid for.
wanted. We had a sense about how much money we could ask for, and a lot of this came from Donald. It really advised on what he was hearing, what the pulse of how much we could do, how much to ask. We didn't want to ask too much, but they also did ask for a good bit. So we looked at some of the higher priority projects from the various reports that we've done, and tried to prioritize that.
I think that's one of the first things you did when y'all got here.
Oh, yeah.
Was those different enterprise funds.
Yeah.
Look at the mapping.
Yeah, we had that information, and so we provided that wherever we could. We provided what we had for Fifth Street, where we already designed, and part of the Parks Master Planning in Epperson, we provided some of the concepts for that too. So we were able to show them that the city's been thinking about this for a while.
I love your concepts, by the way, with the pavilions. There were a couple of pavilions there that he
Those
included.
are still really in a draft form that we're working with.
Yeah, well,
planning.
that was wonderful. I like the look of that.
So those were, we had to grab what we could grab that week to support what we were asking for. But I think we had really good information.
I was just looking at the locations of the items that were crossed out, and so I was just curious as to how you came up with what to do, what to input, and what not to input.
I could go over that with you if you did right now in front of me. I don't have specifically lined out. Literally, it was, quick phone conversations. That Wednesday, early Thursday morning with Donald, we're going to take the top 11 of these water projects in the order that they were listed, because they were in a semi-prioritized order when we did the report. Literally, we had to, on the fly, grab, because there was a lot of supporting calculations that we had to do to make that deadline. And
So you essentially used a report you already had that you took out the analysis that wasn't for this project.
That wasn't for, that was applied. So I would say a lot of it was done very, very quickly.
Thank you.
I have a question.
So do we need to vote on it?
I have a
It's already
question.
done.
before
She
we-
has a question.
Yeah, but circling back to the Crystal Coral lift station, because my understanding is there's some immediacy required in removing that from a citizen's property. Am I understanding?
It's located on private property.
Right. So I guess my question is, two questions. One, what would be just the out-of-pocket cost, knowing that we don't have it? But just give me a number of what it would cost to move that. And then secondly, if the USDA loan doesn't come through, I know you mentioned some other alternatives, but how far out are we looking at being able to do that?
The USDA it's a rolling application, so if we can submit that, I think we'll be back probably to council when we do the actual submitting of that. That's a rolling deadline, so it would be a couple months of getting paperwork and approvals, I would imagine, through USDA. So that if it went that route, that would be the quickest. Through the Swift Mud SRF, that could be another year before that would be finalized. So that was a longer process on that. So, but the USDA definitely has a shorter time frame. The cost, $270,000, was the last quote that we've got. We have reached out to all the contractors where we had contracts under construction. John Henry Park, the emergency bypass at the Fugate lift station, the contractor doing block 12, and asked them, because we could add that work as a change order. We've asked them, even reached out to contractor doing work at the airport. They said they're going to give us a price. They never did. But we've gotten 3 prices in the past 6 months, I think, 9 months, even before on John Henry Park, or earlier than that. And they've all been in that $270,000 range is the number we're getting. And that's one of the stumbling points, that price tag.
Thank you.
2 things I wanted to just make sure you guys are aware of is with the loan that we have through Seacoast for the fiber, anytime the city takes out additional money in the way of a loan, we have to notify them. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head as well. And then really what we're looking for tonight is we want to make sure that the 3 things that Walt just mentioned, the Crystal Curl lift station abandonment, the Homestead lift station renovation, and then the fire truck are what the council wants us to put into this, because obviously this is an actual loan. So we're looking for, kind of consensus tonight for those 3 items.
I mean, my sense is, I'll go ahead and speak up. We got to address the Crystal Curl lift station. That should be top priority, since that is a legal issue as well as just a logistical issue. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, so we've talked about a couple of things. At this point, you're looking at as far as a loan and but it's the loan that will eventually turn into a grant.
No. Not the USDA.
So the first part of my presentation where we applied the FDEP, what they call their state revolving fund loan, and I said / grant. That is the one where they're saying it will become a grant through principal forgiveness. That is what they're telling us. We submitted the paperwork, and it still goes through the loan documents and how much we could get. They are telling us it's going to be a grant. It will turn into a grant. That's that. The USDA rural development is the separate application that we are working on. We're trying to price all that. That is a long term, 30 to 4 years. I think there's a flexibility in that, and low interest loan. That is a true loan. Yeah. So before we commit to we're not committing to anything. We're working out what that loan cost is going to be for you right now. We're working out the paperwork. We'll come back to you, at the city manager's direction once that number is known, and then you make that decision whether you pursue that or not.
So basically, you just want a consensus for you guys to move forward.
I think right now we're just really informing you of what we did on the FDEP. That's no commitment either. Once you get word from them, then you're going to have to make some commitments. If they're going to come to you and say, hey, we want to give you this money, you have an opportunity to say yes or no. If it's truly a grant, I can't imagine what anything else would be, but yes. If it comes back with a level of grant / loan, well, then you have to make some decisions. But we don't know that now, and they're telling us it shouldn't be.
So again, just to recap, so Crystal Curl lift station abandonment, roughly $270,000. Do we have a figure for the Homestead lift station at this point?
I think $700,000.
Okay, so $700,000 for that, and the fire truck I think is $1 million. Is that right, Chief? Okay, so roughly $2 million
for that. The additional paperwork, management, design that are needed for those lift stations is going to be considerable onto that also, and that's where we're mapping that out for you to meet their standards. So yes.
So I guess what we're saying is, if you don't want us, I'm just using this for an example, if you don't want us to pursue the fire truck as part of this, let us know now, because we don't want to put it in, obviously. We don't want Walt to waste that time. If you just want us to do the Crystal Curl lift station abandonment, we'll just do that.
What about the vac truck? Where does that fall in?
That is in the first 2 programs I talked about. That is in the FDEP state revolving fund. The first 2 programs that we just submitted. It's in that program.
Okay.
It could also be put in. the USDA loan requirement. It could be.
Do you
But
need
right
a fire
now,
truck?
when you have an opportunity for
I'm asking the man if he needs a fire truck here. What fire truck do you need to replace?
We have a one of our fire engines, engine 722, that's reached its 20-year lifespan. That's the truck you'd look to replace and move the first line current engine into the reserve position. Yeah, but do I need one? I will in the next few years. I mean, there's no doubt. So it's something you're going to have to face it. You can't kick this can down the road. I'll put it like that. We've done that kind of thing in the past, and I don't want to get behind on our fire trucks this time.
Yeah, if we had, with the vac truck would be great, but that's $750,000. You know,
Can we put them both in there?
Well, the vac truck is in the.
It's in the first one, I
It's
know,
the
but can
first
you
one.
put it in the USD one?
It could be.
With
It
the
could
fire
be.
truck?
It could be. You're asking right now for the 3 projects about $2 million.
Yeah.
The ask becomes a little bit more efficient as it gets bigger because we like for the design, we have to do the environmental report and the PR reports to their standards. If there was another pump station that was added into that, it adds to the construction cost, but it doesn't add to the administrative costs as much or the design or the reporting costs. So asking for a little bit more actually becomes a little more efficient. You ask for too small, it's not worth the effort. If we were to just ask for the Crystal Coral, $270,000, it would cost you that amount of money to meet their criteria and manage the loan and apply for the loan. So you need double. I mean, in round numbers, maybe a little bit skewed, but relatively. So you can ask for more, and then that percentage of what it costs to administer a USD-ARD loan, it becomes a little bit more efficient. So a bigger ask may be in your best interest. They have this money available, and I think that's why, because it's an expensive program to apply for and manage. You do get low-interest loans, but it has more strings attached to it, as opposed to the first 2 projects, which become grants. They have a lot of paperwork, too. We had a lot on John Henry Park, a lot of paperwork, but it was beneficial. You got $1.5 million on that project as a grant. So USDA comes with some strings. It does, but it's an opportunity. The money is out there.
What do you think?
Ms. Hinds, can I ask a question? Sure. So do we roll the cost of all of the requirements into the total grant so that there's no future out-of-pocket expense for the city?
Yes, that's why we're trying to get all those numbers established now, so no surprises for you then.
We need a motion.
Of course, I'm sitting over here thinking about a police console. Yeah, because that was a lot of money too. Ooh. To go with those new radios that we don't have yet.
All right.
That the sheriff's office promised us. Yeah.
So what we need?
You don't need a motion, but if there's anything that you didn't hear in the list that you want added, or you heard on the list that you want off, now's a good time to give direction to your staff.
I like the list.
You don't want to add a back truck or a console to the USDA loan.
What's the console?
The console is the big 911 thing for the dispatcher that actually we need for the new radios because the one we have now doesn't match it.
Don't match.
And that is a mandate.
Yeah.
We have to move that spot.
Right. And I know we had it in the capital improvement plan, but I don't think we had it funded.
No, it's going to be a long one.
In
And
Levy
the time
County,
frame works with this loan? With the USDA loan, which is probably, you said, a year out, the USDA loan?
No, that would be
It's a
sooner.
pretty quick
Oh, that
would be
one's sooner.
sooner.
That's the quick
I
one.
apologize. I misunderstood.
We have to make that application. I mean, you want to bring those costs to you first, get your approval,
Sorry,
then we will
Swift Mud
make
was
that
a year out.
application.
Okay.
Yes,
Got it.
Swift Mud is in January.
So he said he needs the back truck.
The utility department needs the back truck. That was the one we went and observed when they had it on the side of the road, and it cuts the little hole that the guy could get inside without having to tear up the whole road to get in there to fix it. It was unbelievable. They saw me just going to watch it demo. Yeah. And whoever we had, I think somebody from the sewer plant, whose name I can't remember, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Josh?
But this is the USD.
I saw him, but I don't remember his name.
Lack of hair.
The vac truck is currently
No
in
hair.
the FDEP's revolving fund under the Clean Water Program.
Okay. Yeah. We should
That's
have
where
done
it
it
is
separately.
right now.
Yeah.
That is in your packet, the applications, the 2 packets. One is the Clean Water Program, one is the drinking, and I stand corrected, it's in the Drinking Water Program.
Okay. So I guess what I was trying to understand is if that one fell through, the Fed.
State revolving fund.
Yeah, if that one fell through, then we still have everything with the USDA.
Right.
Or if the USDA fell through and the
Only
Fed came up,
but we have to choose the projects for the
totally
USDA.
different. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it is totally different.
Yeah, I would be
So one can't supersede.
I didn't ask this question. I know you met with USDA. I had several meetings with them afterwards. So I didn't ask specifically, but once we make that ask, I think we're kind of committed to it. So if we ask for a vac truck now, and that program goes forward in summer and fall, but then come January we get the grant for it, because we've already put that ask in. So I'd be hesitant on that one to ask on the loan unless you're committed that you're going to pay for those improvements with that loan. And the vac truck is already in the ask right now for the grant.
If they're going to give us a pot of money and we can choose what to do with it,
I believe so. I believe that is
then we
what...
can choose something.
Donald was getting that information. He's got some contacts within that group and was going to, I mean, he said to me, if I walk away and all I get out of this is the vac truck, I'm happy. I mean, that was his comment. That's what he would
It
love
is
to have.
impressive.
Yes.
But we got to get Crystal Curl taken care of because that is
But Crystal Curl is in the
Homestead.
loan.
Okay.
It didn't fall under the hurricane resiliency. We had a hard time justifying putting that in the ask because it wasn't. It's to remove something that's on private property.
Okay.
It wasn't meeting their. We didn't think it would meet their criteria.
So maybe we should add the police console.
That could be to the USDA. Yes, it could.
I can't remember the cost. $500,000. It was a lot.
Well, we're still working on the consoles right now with the county. So we haven't met to see if they're going to donate us the ones that they currently have. Because if they do, then we don't have to buy them. Or if they're going to sell them to us at a reduced cost. Me and Clayton have been talking about that. We got to go before the council once they get their new system installed. And once their new system is installed, then we'll meet with the county and say, hey, let's donate these to Williston, or let's sell these to Williston at a cheap price. Which my approach to that is going to be the taxpayers of Williston have paid for it once. Why make us pay for it twice?
And they'll be compatible with the new radios?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, forget that.
Yep, yes, ma'am.
And the USDA, you said, is rolling?
It's a rolling
So we can
deadline.
always do another one? Can you only have one at a time? I know some do
I'm
that.
not sure. You can have multiple.
You can.
But the effort and cost to go after that, I would advise you to roll as many in the first ask that you can do, and come in with one program. I really would. I wouldn't recommend coming a couple months later. That would be a year later might be something different, but a couple months later, I think it would be best to plan this. My recommendation, if you want another ask, to do that.
I don't think that it would hurt to go ahead and add it in there just in case as a backup. And if we don't need it, then we've got $300,000 to use on another project.
I will.
Is that true?
They may not let us do that.
I will inquire what they would do if you pull. If you ask for this loan, these projects, they're doing an evaluation of these. How they would rank that if you pull one out? I can't. Tell you how.
But it may be the one thing that catches their eye.
Mr. Bishop?
Who knows?
So if you're talking about the SRF loan, I have to come to the council probably next month for a new digger derrick. Would that be a good way to purchase that?
under the USDRD loan.
For the SRF loan. Because you're looking almost 600 for that.
Is that like an auger? What is
Yes,
that? That's like an auger.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. That's
That
the old
big
white,
auger thing that
Yeah,
puts the poles in.
That's the old white truck you see holding the power poles up.
Yeah.
And swapping them out.
Yeah, I could inquire with USDA.
Just a thought.
We've had discussions on these are the projects, and they were favorable for Crystal Coral, they were favorable for Homestead, they were favorable for the fire truck. We had those discussions. I don't know how to treat that.
It's just a question.
Yeah.
So at this point, do you know what it is that we want?
Everything.
I know the auger would be great because it's better than digging my hand.
I want to know if he knows, because we've talked
He
about
does.
a lot of
He does,
stuff.
but we keep bouncing around.
Well,
So
can he tell me what it is that we're asking for?
no, because we keep moving. We keep changing it.
Is there time?
Is this something that needs to be
We've
acted on
discussed
right now?
it this much. Why would we want to do it again?
I want to give you, purchasing is easier, like the fire truck, we have less and pre-engineering that we need to do and cost estimating. We can get quotes, we can do that. So the purchase part of the program under the USDA is a little bit easier. Anything where it's design and construction, we've got to work out the design costs, the PER costs, the environmental impacts, environment report. We need to get a handle on that, so we ask the right amount of money. So if it's a design, if you're going to add a whole new design project, it complicates it. It takes, there's a lot of effort right now that we're doing on that part to map out what you need to do, what you need to ask, and the roadmap going forward. Adding equipment's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier.
Yeah, let's
This is a different
add the
program.
auger truck.
Okay.
But it
Let's
would
add
be
the auger
nice
truck.
to have some
Anything to add.
guidance on that. I mean, the only guidance we had prior to this was a fire truck that was wanted to be added.
So can we do the fire truck, a homestead lift station, the fire, and the lift, and the Crystal Coral, and the auger truck,
I will ask. I'll ask about the auger truck.
or whatever you really call it? I know that's not.
Yeah.
Say again. Derrick
I'll
truck.
need to get some information from Jonathan. I'll work with Jonathan on that.
Okay. Any other questions before we move on?
So similar to this in a sense. The lift station, I know we purchased a lot of pumps just to kind of get us through. How's that?
The
coming along?
bypass is in. The temporary pumps are available and can be engaged when needed. We've had in the past month 2 meetings with, we're reaching out to the contractor who did the bypass to assist with some of the electrical work that the city felt they would have staff felt some harder time doing themselves. And so I'm waiting on a change order price from RCM Construction to assist in that motor swap out that they want to do.
Okay.
And so we're waiting for that. We need one more meeting with them. Like I said, we've had 2 with them in the past month. It didn't happen last week. We tried to do it. I'm going to be trying to schedule something next week with Donald and RCM. And then we're going to have a change order that's going to have to come back to council.
Okay. Are you good with that, Sue? Okay, we'll move forward. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, item G. Discussion with possible action, credit card limit increase.
Thank you, Madam President. All right, so again, this was the walk-on onto the agenda for this evening. You have a one-pager in front of you. It has 4 columns. The first is the employee name with their associated title, their current credit card limit, if applicable, and the proposed credit card limit that we're requesting. And I apologize because the council president, I had 0, and it's actually supposed to be 2,000, correct? 2,000. So that puts the total at 77,500 currently. Again, it would go to 102,500, so it's an additional $25,000. And again, this mostly came because of the fact that we, especially the people who have these smaller limits, these $2,000 and $2,500 limits, they max out their credit cards pretty quickly, and then we're just juggling credit cards around the city anyway. So this would hopefully help with not having to juggle credit cards around.
So all of these increases, then all of them max out every month.
I wouldn't say they all max them out every month, but I'm going to use Laura as an example because, again, Laura
I realized with Laura.
runs many departments.
Right. I realized with her.
And I did go back and actually ask all of the department heads to take a look at these figures, and they all agreed, this is what they were looking for. But again, obviously this is at council's discretion. If you don't want to go that high, we don't have to, but it would just help us not having to juggle around the credit cards.
I make a motion that we approve these credit card limits.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any discussion from the public? All right, I move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. At this time, we have item number 7, announcements. Any announcements from staff? None? No?
Yes, I have an announcement.
Miss Latricia?
I want to thank all of the staff and council for helping me with the 4th of July. Everybody did a great job in their tasks that they did. And I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate all of the help.
We appreciate you too.
Who won the best float?
Who won the what?
I don't know.
Float? Did they have that contest?
Yes, they
this
did.
year?
It was True Force Roofing.
We didn't win?
I can honestly tell you that they wanted to know if they were supposed to judge the city's float because they wanted to, but they weren't sure that they were supposed to. The lady that was in charge of the judges told me that. So next time we need to tell them to.
Because it was amazing.
Because I think we would have won by a long shot. Although True Force Roof thing was pretty impressive.
Chief Rose, anything? Miss Beaudet. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
It's Beaudet, but it's
Beaudet.
fine. No, I'm good, thank you.
Every time I say it, I feel weird. It's okay. Beaudet.
Beaudet.
I have an announcement.
Kiersten?
Oh, sorry.
None? All right. Miss Meredith.
August is sneaking up really fast, and it's the end of the 6 month. This is really directed more at my fellow council members. The 6 month probationary of Sue's contract. And I know there's been some staff issues, and we've got an investigation going on and things like that. And I would like to suggest that we extend the probationary period for 2 months to give Sue time to get that sorted and get through the investigation and make sure that everything is, that we have a productive and positive workplace inside the city halls in 2 months, and that we don't rush to make a decision in August.
I think she would have to agree to it.
Kiersten, approximately how long does the investigation typically take from?
The one that we just had in Stark took about a month for all of that to get done. So it's difficult to tell. It'll depend on who comes forward, what allegations are made, the documentation that needs to be reviewed, that kind of thing.
So you think 2 months would be an ample amount of time?
I would estimate that, and I could come back and tell you once we get the sort of preliminary interviews and documentation gathered. I can give you a better sense after that.
So let's make it next meeting. We'll make that decision.
Okay.
So
is that
she's gonna
something that
find out.
you'd be interested
Sue has to.
in?
Yeah, she would have to agree
Have
to
to
the
agree to it
extension.
as well.
That's just was asking her.
I
Is
mean,
that
that's what
something
she's
she'd be
saying.
interested in? Okay, thank you. All right, so we will table that and come back to it next meeting.
And then we'll decide how long.
We won't.
You want now?
Are y'all asking to table what Meredith said?
Yes.
We're going to come back and
Okay, so.
At the next meeting, I should have a better sense for you all of
Understanding,
how
yeah.
long it'll be, so that you can make a decision on how long you want to extend, or can obviously.
Can
Okay.
it be on the agenda for the next?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other announcements?
Well, it's not an announcement, but then again, we do announcements. That's the first part. So what are we gonna do about Sweebert's cars? We've apparently by Heidi saying that city said we were gonna take care of it.
So, a couple things. I just want to make sure that we have this. My recommendation always is to have as least amount of comment possible on potential litigation. There's been, threatened to move this sort of forward. So that would be my recommendation. What I can tell you is we did submit the claim to our insurance company. Our insurance company came back and denied our claim based not upon, I don't know that I would agree with the information that was presented at the beginning of the meeting. I would clarify that it's not because there is no maintenance schedule, but that there was no proof of lack of maintenance. And then that is what creates liability for the city. And so our insurance company has indicated that our claim was denied for that specific reason. And unless you all tell me otherwise, typically at that point we would take the position that we do not have liability, and it's on the citizen to arrange for the property damage to be addressed.
So I want to ask Ms. Wright a question. So everybody knows, what is the proper protocol when there's an accident or somebody wants to file a claim? What is the proper protocol that everybody should follow?
If it involves employees, their supervisor is supposed to get with me and give me the information, police report, pictures, and there's an incident report that the guys fill out. All that's supposed to be brought to me so I can file it with the insurance company. If it's a private person, a private resident, they're supposed to direct them to see me.
So nobody else should be
But they
involved.
also should, if they are told, let me just repeat that they should also take pictures first. So I'll have pictures to submit to the insurance company. But they just need to let that person know I'm going to give it to the proper person, which is me, to conduct or file a claim.
So nobody else should be, they need to go right to you first.
Yes.
And nobody else say anything else about it.
Right. They should not advise or make any comments on the issue that's at hand.
Yes,
So,
you're
question.
essentially our risk manager and handles
Right.
the case.
But
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
in an event that something happens, shouldn't a report be given by police or no? Okay. Just curious. All right.
And
Any
it
other questions?
Was in this case, I believe.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have just want to call to Roy's attention. I don't know if you've got the budget dates. The budget dates. Everybody
got
get
nothing.
those? They were emailed. I think, by Latricia.
Yep.
To all of us. I can't remember.
Yep.
I hadn't heard it mentioned, so I just wanted to make sure everybody knew when the dates were so they could be here.
We do not. If you can just announce it.
Oh,
real quick, just because some of us can't get into our emails.
If you'll write down July 29th at 5:30 is our first budget workshop. We will establish the tentative millage rate and set the public hearing dates. July 29th at 5:30. The next one is August 12th at 5:30. That is what's called our second budget workshop. August 26th at 5:30. If we need to have a third budget workshop, that's when we'll have it. We don't always have the third one. On September the 12th at 5:30 is our first actual budget hearing where we set the millage rate. On September 29th at 5:30, the City of Williston's second and final budget hearing, and that's the one that's actually put on the tax bill that everybody gets notified of so they can come and make comment if they want to. They come anytime, but that's the one that's official. If you want to take a picture of it, I'd be glad to pass it down.
It's in the email.
Huh?
It's in our
Okay.
email.
Yeah, it is in the email. But they said they can't pull up their emails is the problem.
Yeah,
I'll take
and
a
maybe a week or
You can
so
take a picture
until he
before you
gets
go.
back. Okay. All right. Ms. Jones, did you have something?
Yes, I have an announcement. August 19th, 11 to 1 at City Hall, we're going to be having a community cats consortium. We're going to have the community cats advocates here to talk about how we're going to solve the people problem, not the cat problem, because this is not the cat's fault. This is a people problem. And so the people are going to come together and work and find out a way to get these cats off the streets where they belong, get them fixed, get them vaccinated. From what I've understand, about 5 or 6 years ago, and Debra can probably help me with this, we had some really amazing trappers out there, and these cat colonies were reduced a whole lot. And we can do that again, and I think that we can do it better if we're a little bit more consistent with it. So that's going to be here. It's going to be our first one. I'm sure we'll have more, but this is going to be sort of a brainstorming who's going to be part of this team and how we're going to get this done.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask why we're having it on a Thursday at 11 o'clock in the morning? I mean,
Opposed
nobody
to?
can come. I mean, who can come at 11 o'clock on a Thursday morning?
I mean, my cat advocates are coming? Who's not coming? Who can't come at 11 o'clock?
I know Mr. Eckert can't come, and I can't come. I don't know if you need, they're not cat advocates, but he definitely wants to catch cats.
You don't want me to comment?
I know, because he doesn't want to release them. He doesn't do trap, neuter, release. He does other things with his cats that we all know. But I'm definitely a cat advocate. I've trapped, neutered, and released 30 in my neighborhood. I probably have another 10 I need to do now.
I think what you've done is amazing, and I can communicate with these women. I'm looking for people who aren't quite doing it right now, who want to help and aren't really organized.
Okay, so you don't need people like us there.
You are amazing, but I know you have to work, and I'll coordinate with you.
Yeah, I can't come at 11 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon.
I can't do any more nights, Ms. Jones.
Come at 11 o'clock on a Friday, but I can't come at 11 o'clock on a Thursday.
We'll have the next one at 11 o'clock on a Friday for you. Because there's going to be more than one meeting.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you. And maybe you guys can look into doing some Zooms. Maybe that'll help.
I can't Zoom when I'm working.
I tried. All right.
But I can do it electronic and I don't work.
Going forward, the only thing I didn't see on the agenda was the second public participation. So before we adjourn,
You're so good to realize that.
This is the second round of the public participation. If anyone would like to speak, you have 5 minutes, and please state your name and where you're from.
Don't think there's anybody.
All right. Seeing none, item 8, adjournment. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Got a motion? Got a second. We are adjourned at 8:02 p.m. Thank you.
We have to do an all in favor.
Second.
We didn't take a vote.
We didn't vote on adjourning.
We got to vote on it. Do we really have to vote on it?
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion. Oh, all those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? Aye. All right.
Who's second?
8:03.
Who's second?
Debra, he first. Or somebody first.